How to get money from Airbnb if something goes wrong. This is English for Impact and your host, Yulia Bimlina. Today I will talk you through my story, my not such a cool story with Airbnb that I did not enjoy, but what I did enjoy is getting $200 from them. And I will give you the ideas, the energy, and the language to do the same should you find yourself in a similar situation. Let's get to it. Why you need these three things: ideas, energy, and the language to stand up for yourself and for your rights when something goes wrong during your trip abroad. Well, if you don't have an idea, you actually don't know what to do because you don't know any precedents, you don't know any cases, stories of people standing up for themselves. Take me, for example. I was born in post-Soviet Russia during the 90s, and this concept of customer service was non-existent. And then if you do not actively learn, how do you even know that it's possible to get compensation from services? Well, actually, you may think that you are wrong, and instead of asking for compensation, you may even feel the fear that you did something wrong. That's why you need ideas. Then you need the energy. Even if you know that something can happen, you should feel that it can also happen to you. I mean, good things such as compensation. You need to feel the power going through you, and the easiest way to get this power is by identifying yourself with other people who have done that. Take me as an example. I'm not a native English speaker. I don't come from a privileged family, yet I managed to stand up for myself and for my rights. That means that you can too. And finally, the third thing is the language. You need to communicate using specific phrases. Even if you have the ideas and feel the energy, you still need to have the words to say them. This video will give you all the three. We will go through 4 parts. The first one, I will share with you a bit of my personal story, the story of my traveling around Asia, and the story of the flooding, what actually happened on that Airbnb night, so that you know the context, you can better understand what comes next. Next, we will look at 2 stages of negotiation, how I moved from getting zero from Airbnb after the flooding to $200 in 16 days. Finally, in the 4th part, I will give you a whole checklist what to check yourself against when you are in an emergency, after the emergency, and during negotiations. This will empower you to face whatever happens around you during your journey. Let's get to it. Now, hopefully, you are as excited as I am. For you to better understand what happens next, let me share with you my story. Originally, I am from Russia, have been living and traveling around Southeast Asia for 2.5 years. First, after leaving Russia and after a brief stay in Thailand, I moved to Bali, where I enjoyed 1 year of wonderful life, met many great people, old ones and new ones, reconnected, funny enough, with my old friends from Moscow. Then it was time to move on, as the city was calling. I was tired of jungle life and moved to Vietnam, Saigon, with 15 million of population. It's a city full of hustle and bustle. After 1 year there, again, the pace took its toll, and I moved to a smaller 1 million of population city on the coast in central Vietnam, Da Nang. What I'm going to tell you about next happened here. Vietnam, central Vietnam, Da Nang. Imagine me on a Friday night working on my laptop. Well, don't tell me about work-life balance. I do have a day off on Saturday, so I was finishing up stuff to enjoy my Saturday, when at 9 p.m. I heard a weird noise from my bathroom. It was not Halloween, it was 1 month before Halloween, but that was scary. I actually wanted to go and cover underneath a blanket, but I pulled myself up, went to a bathroom, and lo and behold, water was coming through the ceiling, through the walls. Like, the whole thing burst through and started getting flooded. It was so scary. I took my camera, I took my phone and started recording and getting in touch, first with my host and then with Airbnb. And you know what? No one responded, and you will understand better what comes later when you hold that in mind, that actually I was on my own that night. On my own. I started looking around, looking for neighbors, but actually the whole building was almost empty. I found one neighbor upstairs who actually also spoke Russian, but her bathroom was okay. Then it was empty cause, as it later turned out, that was a new building after construction, and apparently the tenants, guests like cars were let in without proper security checks. Why I'm saying that? Because later I found out that on Monday the whole building was evacuated and shut down for repairs. So that was not a localized leak, it was a building-wide security failure, which likely happened because the building was not checked properly before exploitation, before use. Right, so that was empty, it was late at night, and that was scary. What I did next, I kept on calling and texting and sending video messages both to the host via WhatsApp and to Airbnb support. I spent 2 hours this way and heard back nothing. Right, it was now 11 p.m. and I had to decide. It was impossible to stay there. The water level was rising, the water reached kitchen already, and the whole situation looked scary. I felt very bad abandoning the place and going out because that was causing pretty serious property damage for the host as well. But after tens of unanswered calls and messages, I had to think about myself and my own safety and security. So I packed my 2 big suitcases, left them downstairs where it was dry in the lobby, took my backpack, and luckily found a capsule hotel where I checked in for the night. And have you ever guys stayed in capsule hotels? Please let me know. I'm curious about your experience. Luckily, it was not that bad. It was kind of like a clean hostel with some privacy, because you basically have a capsule for yourself and there is a door so you can check yourself out, shut down, get your light, get your headphones, Wi-Fi, and just sleep there in peace. The bad thing is that, yeah, you have shared bathroom, but that was okay for one night, and I have to say that that place was quite clean, luckily. Alright, then I wake up in the morning, for the record, Saturday morning, and for the record, you remember that Saturday is my only day off, and I'm super, super, super protective of my schedule. I want to preserve it, this only day that I set aside for rest. This one good habit, well, I have many good habits, this one good habit that I have is to not to think about my problems until after breakfast. I start my day with a nice breakfast. So treat myself to a nice breakfast, enjoy the morning, and then started checking my phone. I expected to find anything, but I found almost nothing. I found only 2 lines from my host at 2 a.m. acknowledging that she's aware of situation and looking at it. That's it. No further instructions, no offers to help, not asking me how I was, nothing. And that was already 11 a.m. in the morning, and still nothing, nothing, nothing. I was shocked. I did not expect to get this kind of treatment, not from the point of view of how support works in a multi-billion company, Airbnb, and not from human perspective from the host. You may also be thinking, how come that she learned about it at 2 a.m. if she didn't answer back calls at 9 p.m.? Well, as I later found out from my neighbor upstairs, you know what happened? And that's pretty crazy. At 2 a.m., the siren, the alarm went off. The whole building was evacuated because basically the water reached that unsafe level, and at that point the host became aware and came to fix the issue. When I later came back, and fast forward, I did spend there a couple more nights, I even saw a toilet sitting right next to the entrance door. That's absurd. So now you see the context. This absurd flood that later led to the whole house evacuation, zero support, and absolute nonchalance about what happened. That's the context that you need to know to follow next 2 parts of my negotiation. How first I got from 0 to $3.69, and then from that to 200. Why not jump straight to 200? This is a crucial learning moment. You need to see what happened at that middle $3.69 in my story, because even that I was not given right away, and that's a key moment. Stay tuned. Part 1. From 0 to $3.69. Imagine breakfast is over, I'm getting this message, one-liner, what do I do next? First, I don't ruin my only day off. I take my backpack and I proceed to a nearby village, Hoi An, to the beach club, to enjoy what I had left of my Saturday. And from there, I'm texting my host what to do next. Then she invites me to go back. Only after I reach myself. Only after I reach out first. Nothing more, not checking upon me, nothing. As for Airbnb, they respond even later at 2 p.m. That's how many hours? 18 hours. Please help me. From 9 p.m. in the evening till 2 p.m. next afternoon. Is it 18 hours? Help me to calculate in comments. After the incident, they respond just asking me how I was and what's my plan next. Basically, again, not offering me any help or support. That's crazy. That's crazy. At this point, I'm super, super angry and I'm writing. Well, first, I'm telling my host to switch the whole communication from WhatsApp to Airbnb, and that's very important because on Airbnb you have transparency. You have the whole communication loop. On WhatsApp, no one knows what you do, so please do not switch to external platforms when you are a client. Stay on the central one. You get a higher chance of getting support. So first I moved all the communication there, and then I write a letter to Airbnb asking for compensation. And what I'm asking to compensate, that's the first round. And I think I'm very reasonable. But reasonable people get only 3.69. I'm asking for the taxi, the capsule hotel refund, the breakfast outside as I did not enjoy my eggs and parmesan at home. And I'm asking for that flight at night compensated, taking from the cost of my trip. Actually, for your reference, the whole cost of my trip on Airbnb was $120, around that. And then I'm asking for $100 as a goodwill compensation in cash or Airbnb credits. What I hear back is that they are ready to offer me, what do you think? Only one thing. 30% of the flight at night back. The refund, even not one night, but 30% of that night of the flight, which amounts to $3.69. I was appalled. 30% of the flight at night after 18 hours after this emergency at night? Oh my god, that made me angry. So, of course, I moved back to that apartment building to another room for 2 more nights until Monday when the whole building was evacuated. Then I found another apartment from Monday. And okay, I waited to get this 3.69 and I was already preparing a big post for social media. At this point, and that's where we go to the second round of the negotiation. So what happened next? How I moved back to 200. Next point, and here you need to know how support systems at big companies work. They have, and I used to work in IT in Yandex, so I have an idea. They have this Ticketnaya, a ticket repository where incoming queries from users get stored. And first, they all routed to junior level specialists. Then, if the junior guys cannot cope with it, they are pushed upwards, and extreme cases reach the leaders of the organization. The bigger the organization is, the lower the chance that you will go upwards. The key point happens when the issue is about to get resolved. Either before or immediately after your support request is marked as resolved, they ask you, have we solved your problem? Is there anything that we can help you with? Your best reaction window is before they close the ticket and they ask you, have we solved your problem? Do you need any other help? That happened to me. I received this question, automatic question, not from the person I was dealing with. The question was, do you still need help? Of course, I said yes. I still need help because I was not happy with $3.69 as a compensation. And that's the pivotal moment. You need to say that you are not happy even when it's like, okay, it's over. No, it's over only when you give up. And I know that if I had more energy in me, I could push it further, and get more than $200. Saying that I still need help, and I sent this escalation letter. Let's look at it now. Inside the escalation, there are 7 parts that you can copy and use as a framework for any escalations and 4 power phrases. Now that you have the ideas what to do and hopefully you have the energy in you to stand up for yourself, let's look at the vocabulary and the rhetoric structure that you can use, the tools, the bricks, the building materials you use to construct your argument. Let's look at the 7 parts first. The first one is the goal of your letter. You're saying why you are writing. So I'm saying that I'm requesting an urgent review, okay? Don't start with emotions. State clearly with what you want. Then I have 2 paragraphs, part 2, of facts and evidence. Again, I summarize what happened and I put together everything. I'm not sending again all the videos at this point, but I refer to them and I give the whole timeline of what had happened. Next, in the third part, I state that I'm unhappy with the treatment I received from Airbnb, right? So I'm saying that it's unacceptable and summarize how the issue had been kind of resolved so far. After that, I'm stating my demands again, what I want. Look at this. I'm highballing them. Remember last time I asked for $100 in goodwill and the compensation of capsule and breakfast? Now I'm asking for 10K. For 10,000 US dollars, I'm highballing them. Of course, I understand that it's not so realistic, but I know that you rarely get what you ask for, and to get more, you need to be unreasonable. Reasonable people get jack shit. I am being unreasonable to get more. I'm increasing my initial demand, alright, to anchor them, to give them a ballpark estimate of where I'm thinking, and that worked. Fifth part, doing a pretty smart move actually. I'm appealing to the company's mission. People do care about the mission. People do care about the statement they make in public. And the Airbnb's official mission, taken from the website, to create a world where anyone can belong anywhere. And I did not feel that I belonged that night when I was left to my own devices. While the support was ignoring me, ignoring my requests, referring to the policies. According to our policies, you can get only 30% refund of that flooded night. I am using the mission with a subtle hint. I'm not saying that, but I'm implying that if your policies do not serve your mission, are they actually useful? That mission was violated in my case. After that, I'm going to state my compliance because I don't want to come across as a crazy woman. No one deals with those kind of hysterical, crazy people. I put an impression of a grounded person. I say that I'm ready to comply, to provide evidence, and help them to help me. I'm also helping them to save face, because your opponent will give you what you want if you help them to do it peacefully and gracefully without losing their face and reputation. And then I finish off, wrap up with paying respect. Now let's have a look at 5 power impact phrases that I use in this letter and that you can adapt to your situations. I'm referring to the issue as a serious building-wide safety issue, stating that it's a structural problem, not a localized leak. What I'm saying here is that the issue is bigger than a one-off case. Then, I'm referring to what happened as a verified building-wide failure. Verified is a keyword here. I am asking for a review, for my case reviewed by a senior case manager. And here I'm showing that I understand how the whole support system works. Finally, I'm wrapping up peacefully, saying that I want to address the matter fairly. Okay, let's review them. A serious building-wide safety issue, structural problem, not a localized leak, verified building-wide failure, review by a senior case manager, and to address the issue fairly. Finally, 16 days later, boom, I got my money in the bank. $200. Well, the whole trip that I booked then cost about $120. So I did stay there for free and even got some money on top of that. Thanks to 3 things: persistence, keeping going, and 2 less expected things combined together. That's politeness and pressure. Yeah, I was polite while applying pressure, and that's a very rare skill, because polite people are usually shy people, right? They are afraid to hurt others, while people who apply pressure, they are commonly aggressive. It's hard to be polite and to apply pressure at the same time, but that's a key skill, and this letter is a demonstration of how to do that. Do that and you will get what you want in this life. Finally, let's review our step-by-step checklist of what to do during an emergency, after an emergency, and during negotiations. During an emergency, while you're experiencing whatever you're experiencing, your goals are, first and foremost, to stay safe, to protect yourself, and to avoid victim blaming, to avoid anyone blaming you for what's happening, and to maximize your leverage. With this in mind, you need, if it's safe, to record whatever is happening around you, but be careful. If it's dangerous, don't do that. If you can, do it. And then get in touch with your stakeholders as soon as possible on the platform, be it booking, restaurant booking, Uber, or whatever. Just don't go outside of the transaction platform. Stay there. After the emergency, your goals are to return the losses and, if possible, to get gains. Why not make lemonade from the lemons that life throws at you? Now, how you do that? Give a bit of a time for the other side to make the first move. Why? Because sometimes they may offer you more than what you hope for. So give them a chance to act first. But don't wait too late. Don't lose that critical moment. If you see that the opponent is not offering you anything, state clearly what you want. Do not use vague emotional language.
Oh, you owe me, you did this, now help me, na 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 na.
Point by point, say what compensation you expect and make sure to highball it, to exaggerate the estimate, so that you anchor your opponent's attention at a high figure to play from there. See? You ask for $100, you get $3.69. You ask for $10,000, you get $200. That's how it works. Finally, during the negotiations, your goals are to increase the initial offer, because the initial offer is rarely the final one. The key steps to take here: to treat no as a beginning, not as an ending of a negotiation. When you hear no, work with it. Play around it. Ask questions. What needs to happen to change this? No, very important. Use I statements throughout the process. Say what you feel, how the situation impacted you, but never say you.
You are to blame, you did this to me, you deserve, na 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 na.
Because that's a slippery slope that leads to nothing. Then you just lose the argument, because those people have lawyers, they have more resources. You start blaming them, they will return the ball, and it will only spiral down. But no one can deny your experience. Whether this issue caused you lost work hours, sleep distress, whatever, it's your right to describe the situation through your own point of view. And finally, don't hold it inside. Share it publicly, share it on social media. Don't be afraid that you will look like a victim. Victims are the people who withhold information and are afraid to share them, not the other way around. Now, if you're a startup or an investor, maybe this video gave you an idea to have another look at the travel tech and the property tech section, because definitely there is market for disruption here. It's not easy to run operations at this scale globally with the same standard, but if you find a way to do it, customers like me and my friends will definitely use your services. Hope it will happen sooner than later. If you are a traveler or a digital nomad, now you have the ideas, the energy, and the language for non-native English speakers to protect yourself. Thank you for watching this. Please subscribe and share this video with a friend who likes traveling. I also want you to know that I don't have much time left, maybe a year or half a year. Later, the whole content creation market will be drastically changed by AI. And new entrants like me, small channels, will no longer have even a small chance to succeed without capital. If you like the content that I am producing, please share this with your communities, with people around you, to give this channel a chance to grow before it's too late. Your English for Impact and Yulia BnB.